been a whole week without the big bad devil daddy himself. It is good to be back. Hopefully everybody had a good Christmas. I know I ate too much as usual. Had a lot of different places to go, but I am super excited to bring Mr. Bill Oberst Jr. to the underground, first time ever, and hopefully he will definitely enjoy it. How are you doing tonight, sir?
Reaper, did you just call yourself the Big Bad Devil Daddy?
That's a little bit of a nickname.
No, that's like really badass. And now I have nothing. How do I follow Big Bad Devil Daddy?
I don't know, the big bad multi-actor. I don't
I'm
know.
not big, and I'm not bad. It's good to be with you, man. Thank you very much. I like what you do.
Thank you so much. And boy, do I appreciate your amazing body of work. And before we get into that, we're going to cut to a quick commercial break from one of our beloved sponsors over at Desaia's Creep Shop. Check it out. That's right. It's not too late. I know Christmas has passed, but you can still pick up some of these creepy collectibles, anything from apparel to handmade painted dolls there, all kinds of stuff. If you like to collect that kind of thing, please check out DesaiasCreepShop.com. She's got something for you. Kyler, welcome. Glad to have you out there in the comment section. By the way, share this out. Share it everywhere, people. Everybody out there in Three Witches Land, share it out now. If you haven't done it, do it right now. Okay? And not to mention, if you have any questions for Bill throughout the show, please drop them in the comment section. You will get your answers. All right. Welcome, Bill, to the show. How are
I
you
really
doing?
like those dolls. I'm very into horror collectibles. Have been since I was a kid. I really like
Oh,
the
they're
idea
just
that people like us collect strange things that are beautiful to us,
yeah.
but for anybody else would be really weird and dark. It makes it feel more like a family, you know?
Absolutely. I know, a lot of people just have that superstition that, souls get trapped inside them, which who knows? But, obviously Hollywood and the film industry has done a number on creepy dolls, and we've all been fans of it ever since.
Yeah,
Me,
absolutely.
I enjoy a lot of the strange and unusual type stuff. We have a question for you. What is the most beloved part of your horror collection?
The most beloved part of my horror collection is
Hmm.
old. It's a Don Post mask ordered from Famous Monsters of Filmland magazine when I was
Oh,
little
okay.
Billy Oberst, I don't know, like 14 or 13 or whatever. And I would save up my money and buy Famous Monsters, and you could order stuff from the back. And Don Post had these rubber mask Wolfman
Okay, yeah.
Frankenstein, and I've got a Wolfman that's just barely holding together, and I really cherish it.
It reminds me of those that it was a mask in a box, like when I was a kid back in the late 70s. Um, that you got your Halloween costume in a box.
Yeah.
And some of them have, oddly enough, have popped up again that people are trying to collect again, which is really nice to see. So I definitely share your love for those old school masks,
I
man.
remember
They're
those.
so
I used to be very into monster models too, and
Oh yeah.
I got rid of all of them, and I'm really regret it now. But so I decided to try another model, and I ordered a vinyl kit, I've never worked with vinyl before, but it's a vinyl of Robert De Niro as Frankenstein for
Oh
television
man,
release.
hell yeah.
And
That's
so,
probably my favorite
is it?
Frankenstein film
I love that
next to
Frankenstein
the
too.
original.
I've got him right in my office. And so vinyl is really weird because heat is your friend and heat is your enemy. Like you
Ah,
have to
yeah.
heat the vinyl up to get it into place, but you can't go too far because you melt it. But it was really interesting. And then I did the layers of paint and a decay over him. So I really treasure my little De Niro. Well, that came out wrong, but don't we all treasure our little De Niros?
Ah, little Johnny, whatever, you know.
Yeah. Little
Whatever we want to call it
Frankie,
these days.
the little mad doctor. Yeah. At
That's
least we
awesome.
say little in front of it, and that makes us humble.
That's right. Oh man. Oh shoot. We already got another one. Uh I already have a question for Bill. Did you enjoy being the main clown in Circus of the Dead?
No, I enjoy having been the main clown, but Billy Pond will tell you that that was a psychologically grueling shoot. There were some things he had to talk me into doing, some things that I didn't participate in. And there's a picture online of Billy talking me into one of these horrible
Oh,
necrophiliac rape scenes. And I'm up against the wall in the popcorn makeup, and Billy's got his hands braced right in front of me, and he's staring right into my face, and he's talking me into this. Yeah, it was one of the most intense and hardest roles that I've ever done. I had nightmares about that for a long time, but I did like Papa's curl. That was kind of my
yeah.
saving grace. It was playing
I
with the
think we got
curl.
a rendering of this. Do we not?
Yes, the little
It's
curl. Because
stellar.
I figured that even though he was a homicidal necrophiliac rapist, he would want his curl to be perfect, and so I like playing with it.
I understand. And you know that's kind of interesting because that was one of the things I was going to ask you about. How did you get into the headspace for that fucking insanely crazy movie?
So Pond helped me because I had the wrong idea completely. I figured he's a clown, so everything's going to be sarcastic. And Pond said, "No, it's serious." He said he would be the same person if he were a plumber. His day job just happens to be as a circus clown. And so
Wow.
that's what I did. And I figured, all right, if he's a circus clown, he's going to have a personality that he uses with the public, and he's going to have one that he uses with his guys, and he's going to have one that's really him. So the really him was him sitting in the barber chair, just staring into the window, slobbering and saying, "Popcorn, popcorn." And then he had his
Oh, that's creepy.
exuberant personality. And then he had the one that he used with his boys, which is pretty much saying, "Don't fuck this up." And so that's the way I kind of got into him, was that he was very serious. This wasn't a joke to him. This is his life. And I think that makes him even more frightening, the thought that there could be clowns like that out there.
Yeah, absolutely. This film, I think, kind of changed the face of how people think of circus clowns. You know, you always hear that there's I like clownophobia or some kind of like actual psychological fear of clowns, and I think what was so well delivered about this particular character is the fact that you took it to a whole new level, and I mean everybody just loved it. You know, it's just it's very intense. It takes a lot to shock someone like myself because I love realism and stuff like that, and you absolutely delivered on
Well,
this role.
thank you. And again, that's all Billy Pond. Papa Corn is going to hurt you. There's not any question that he's going to hurt you, and he's going to laugh at you while he hurts you. And yeah, that's really chilling. And there's no reason that he's going to hurt you. It's not for revenge. It's not because he got fired at the post office or some bullshit like that. He
Right.
just does it because he enjoys it. I mean, this is a guy who gets a hard on watching somebody's tongue being cut off. That's weird, man. That's weird. That's not.
Oh man. I mean, you think about the average person is like, do you think they could laugh at it? Is it because it's a the vengeance thing? Maybe, if you're getting revenge, it's like, haha, got you.
Uh-huh.
But in this case, this particular character just loves it for the sake of doing it.
He's aroused by your discomfort and aroused by your fear. I think he feeds on fear.
Absolutely. I
He
mean,
gets
the,
off
the,
on
the
fear, and that's
yeah.
that's that's the scariest kind of a person. You know,
Oh, most
Reaper,
definitely.
it's weird because like we want to separate. Oh, these are human beings and these are monsters. You know, they're different. So I'm attached to play Hitler in this film over in Romania, and so when
Oh, that's
I
got to be so amazing.
so I put that on Twitter and said, I'm attached to play Hitler. And they're like, oh, how could you play such a monster? And the word monster kept coming up over and over again. I'm like, no, he wasn't a monster. He was flesh and blood. He pissed just like us. He burped. He farted. He did everything. He was a human being. He was not any
Right.
different than us, except that he made different choices than us. And that's really scary.
Absolutely. And sometimes, the characters like this, the mental stability or instability is what makes them, that much more believable, creepy, that kind of thing. I mean, shit, just going over to Romania, that's got to be something. Such a rich history in that country.
That's true. And I secretly do want to see all of the Dracula sites
I
because,
was going to say, God
yeah,
damn it, that's bucket list for
and
me. I want to walk the grounds of that castle. I
I want
must.
I want to hike the Carpathian Mountains at sunset. Oh
Such
yeah.
a and everyone always says it's so dark and shrouded and just like freaky. I think it's beautiful. I think the whole countryside there's beautiful, all the mountains and stuff. Woo wee. So hopefully you'll get to do that.
I hope so.
So I mean, you're definitely not like the typical kind of horror actor. You've kind of done it all. You've done, some voiceover work. You've done, I mean, so many different kinds of characters. I believe there's some, just kind of looking through the IMDb, you've done, I think a couple of comedies and stuff, but then you
But
end up in Rob Zombie's Three from Hell.
that's because the rents always do, Reaper. The rent
It's like
always.
amazeballs, though. You get the
So,
best roles.
so for years, for a decade, I took every role, every role. Now I have slowed down. Like for the last 5 years, I don't have to take every role, and I don't. But there were 10 years where I just was just like dry, pump, pump, pump,
Sure.
produce. How many you got now? I got 75 IBD credits. Okay, it's got to be 80 by the end of this year. Go, 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 go. And now it's like
Mm.
200, and now I can relax a little bit. But yeah, so I've done all kinds of things. You mentioned Zombie, Three from Hell. That was an
What was
interesting
it like?
experience because, well, he wrote these cameos for people that he wanted in the movie. So your
Hmm.
agent calls you, and your agent says, Rob Zombie would like you to do a cameo in the film, and
I probably would have shit my pants if I got that call.
he's not telling you or anybody else what it is because he hadn't written it yet. Everybody's working for scale. Nobody gets any favors. You can say yes or no. And so the answer is, of course, yes.
Ah, yeah.
And then, yeah, and then you get on the set and there's Clint Howard walking around, dressed as a clown, and there's Danny Trejo. And so it's just a very cool horror family experience.
Did you have the did you get to meet like Sid at all?
No, I did
Oh,
not get
okay.
to meet him. And what a loss when he passed.
Ah, man, I think about it every day.
I've worked with
He's one of
Mosley
my heroes.
he definitely was. I worked with Mosley 3 times now. And so that
Oh, Bill is just amazing.
we didn't have a scene together in that one, but we were either right before or after that. I think it might have been before. I get mixed up, but we did a movie, a talking evil ventriloquist dummy movie. Uh,
Oh, how fun.
And so at the end of it, Bill and I had to. I think he's casting me into the abyss, the vortex of hell opened up by the evil dummies. And so we're laying on a green
That's
screen. It's
awesome.
like 2 a.m. and the camera's over us, and we're laying on a green screen, and we're supposed to just wrestle and wrestle and wrestle, and go like, ah, no. And so they said, well, we don't have time for many takes. And I was like, Bill, can I scream? And he was like, oh yeah, that'll be fine. I said, I scream really loud. He said, that'll be fine. So I can scream really loud, Reaper. I scream like really loud. So I let one of my best go right in Mosley's ear. And as soon as it cut, he said, Jesus God. And so it was nice because it felt like, maybe one of those moments with Peter Lorre and Vincent Price and all those old guys doing one of those movies together, or Lugosi and Ed Wood, saying, I'm too old for this shit. It was that kind of
Absolutely. Just a hell of a cast, and what a great end to that trilogy of films right there. So that's awesome. You got to be a part of that. Um, but yeah, I mean, a good scream like that probably took him back to childhood practically.
I don't get to use it often. I get like my indie horror films, my little cult art house films like Dis from Adrian Corona, Coyote, Trevor Yinger, these experimental films, they let me scream like a son of a bitch. But in the other ones, I mostly just whisper and stare, you know?
But
My,
sometimes even that can be more sinister. You know what I mean?
well, close proximity, when you're a little too close to someone and you're just saying, can we talk for just a minute? Like that, yeah, that can be kind of like just the touch, just the soft touch. Yeah,
Hell yeah. Very believable, man.
that'd be nice.
Chills, man. Absolute chills. I mean, and that probably served you very well in Criminal Minds, which was like one of the highest rated episodes of all time.
Well, the director, Matthew Gray Gubler, who was the cast member, he was Dr. Reed. He directed this. He was a horror fan, and Breen Fraser, the producer, is a horror fan, and so they wrote this as an homage to like these Chaney-like characters. And when I got on set, I wasn't doing it soft, and Matthew took me to the side and he said, "Be like a child. Be like, be like a child." And even when I was doing a take after that, he would go, just gentle. He wanted it very gentle, and it did make it scarier for the people who find the character scarier. I thought he was lovable, but that's because I'm warped.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But he, I mean, he
I'm
had a
an
rough
I'm an
time
anti-hero fan myself, so
because Adrian Barbeau and Tobin Bell got it on when they were 17, and he came out of it. And what could he do?
just amazing delivery.
And I'm going to
Um,
tell you too that Adrian Barbeau is a really, really great actress, Reaper. She's strong
oh,
as
I
hell.
loved her in The Fog
Oh, she was really great. Yes,
and
she's
Swamp Thing.
a
Shit.
woman who, when you put barbed wire around her neck, she says tighter. That's a really good actress.
I would say so. That's somebody who's willing to go the extra distance to make it more real.
Absolutely.
Goodness. Whew. Definitely going to have to go back and watch that again. For sure. Such a good episode. So, what, I don't know, what is kind of like your favorite actor medium to do? What's like your most favorite role or
Well,
one that you haven't done yet?
I'll tell you two. One that I have and haven't. On stage, I love stage because of the intimacy. So
Sure.
there's a Ray Bradbury piece. It's called Pillar of Fire, and it was the very first zombie story it was ever written, 1948. And so I turned it into a solo show and licensed it from the Bradbury estate. And I've done that, and it's about the last corpse on Earth, and they burned all the corpses because they don't want any reminders of death around anymore. And at the end, he knows he's going to be burned, but he's raging. Bradbury wrote this beautiful hymn to all dark things, and the guy before he dies, he's saying, "Here's what you're killing. I'm this. You know, I'm Poe. I'm this. I'm Halloween. I'm this." And then he's going to be burned, and and I'm in zombie rags, and it's 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 a beautiful moving piece because it's a piece about death, which we
Hmm.
don't face a lot, and it's the kind of thing you couldn't do in film because you'd have to put a lot of action with it. But it's very beautiful. I did it in Germany in a basement for a community center when I was over there doing it in Germany, and so I did the piece in Germany, and everybody was really really quiet, and I realized at the end that I'm a barefoot, dirty man in rags who's about to be burned.
Mm.
And yeah, and afterwards people came up and were talking about that and how affecting it was, and it was written right after World War II. So I love doing that kind of stuff. Okay, so that's stage. On film, the role that I haven't done yet is playing Eric in a reimagining of Phantom of the Opera, and
Ooh,
I've wanted to
that would
do
be
it
amazing.
for 10 years. I've mentioned it on every interview, and finally, I've had a producer and director who were interested, and we had our first meeting today to start hashing out kind of what the script and the character would be like, and I'm super excited. I think we're going to be able to do it. We're going to do a short first, like a 30-minute short as a proof of concept, and then hopefully move to a feature.
Nice. That will definitely be amazing. And that was one of the things I was going to say. It seems like you got like a lot of stuff in like pre-production and things. So, I mean, you're definitely staying busy.
Well, I
How
mean,
do you keep up with all that?
I guess you know from the music business, you have to have a bunch of balls in the air because you don't know which one of them is going to drop.
For sure.
Yeah, like maybe something that you really think is a sure thing, they're like, "Oh, we don't have the money." And then something you thought was not going to happen was like, "Yeah, okay, we'd like to book that." But keeping up with it, you can't compartmentalize. You just have to whatever you're doing at the moment, you have to do it fully and completely, like there's nothing else. And then when that's done completely, go to the next thing. So I don't like to be on my phone or thinking about the next project or anything like that. I just like to live in the words. And even when you think you know the words, maybe song lyrics are like that. I don't know. Just kind of keep
Oh,
living
they
it.
can be. I mean, I'm a drummer, so I mean, I do think about the words sometimes because I am a little bit of a lyricist myself,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially on the last album I did last year. But I can still feel them, kind of get lost in whatever the message is being delivered, that kind of thing.
You know,
So I feel that.
I just talked to a guy who said that he saw Springsteen, I don't know, 10 years ago or something. And
Nice.
Springsteen did No Surrender, which I'm sure he's done like God knows how many thousands of times. But he said he came out, he did it, he followed up with Glory Days as the opening too, and he said those sounded
Oh wow.
vocally as fresh as they were on the original album. Springsteen was actually living in the lyrics as if he'd never lived in them before. I said, "Wow, that's the mark of a pro." And so that's what I try to do in my stuff too, is to live in the word so much that even if it's 40 takes, it's still fresh. Because in horror, sometimes you have to do a number of takes because effects don't work or the lighting's wrong or this kind of stuff.
For sure. And for an artist that's been around that long, it's like you can still feel that to this day. And you wrote it like what, 30 years ago, 40 plus. It's like, wow. I mean, that's a true artist.
Oh, absolutely. And so he must have reserved a place in his soul for those lyrics because they weren't bullshit. They came from him, and he just goes back to that place in the soul. And I try to do the same stuff. Um, yeah, I mean I know it's indie horror is a variable quality, but if I'm playing
But they make some of the best movies though.
if I'm playing malevolence or downright evil, I want it to be real. I want it to be so real that even in a shoddy setting, if it is a shoddy setting, that the evil will stand out and make people stop and go, "Oh my God, what is that?"
Right.
So I
For
never want
sure.
I never want to phone that in, and I never want to take it lightly, because I believe that there is such a thing as real evil, and it's a responsibility to me to kind of embody it. I don't want to make it a joke.
Absolutely. No, definitely not. We have another question for you here. Kyler asks, I have another question. Was there any movies or shows that you did not enjoy doing? Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, but they always, here's the weird thing, Tyler. I don't know if this is applicable to what you do for a living, whatever that is, but the things that I suffer the most and that I'm the most uncomfortable doing and that I really do not like doing, those are the things that come out to have more meaning and more significance than the things that I thought, wow, this is fun and it's going to be great. Those are never the good things. So, like, yeah, there's a lot of them. When it gets late at night, I'm not a night person. And if I'm working an overnight shoot at 2 or 3, I can be
Man.
really pissy. I try to be nice, genial Bill, but sometimes I'm just pissy Bill. And I don't like it. And the more nights you work in a row, the more irritable you get. And I just want to go to sleep, and I don't want to do the movie anymore. And I turn into a little baby. But you do your job. And then afterwards, when you look at the results, you're like, okay. Dis is a good example of that. I didn't enjoy doing Dis. We shot in Mexico under extremely hard conditions. It was
Oh, man.
cold. We hiked like 10 miles up a mountain, walking
Holy
with
crap.
the cameras strapped to burros to get one shot. I mean, it was really physically tough, but it's one of the most rewarding movies I've ever done artistically. And I'm going to do another one with Adrian next year, which I'm sure will be just as hard, because that's the way he works. So,
Right.
yeah, there's loads that I didn't enjoy doing, and they all came out good. And then there's some that I was like, wow, super fun, and they were crap.
We're definitely, on every entertainment, medium, we're our own worst critics, I think.
I know we are, because all we see is like the one place we messed up. You ever do that with drums? Like, can you hear the one place where you weren't perfect?
Oh yeah, I mean, I was actually just listening to one of my albums I did with a former band that I was a part of. I'm like, you know what? I could have played this there, but I didn't, and I don't know why I didn't do it. But it would have been so much better.
Yes,
I do it all the time.
I think the same things. I'll miss hitting a light I could have hit, or I'll take a pause it's too long, and I'll think, why didn't I why didn't I think to do that? But it's because, like, the more you do, the more you know, and the more you know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah,
think
it's
looking
kind of
back
hard
now,
to
yeah.
sit there and watch something, that you've done, or I even just go back to old, concert footage I've done and stuff, and I don't know how to be just a fan, just like somebody out in the crowd listening. So,
Yes.
do you ever have moments like that where you're not really just like a movie watcher? You're just being too analytical.
Always. I can't watch myself. I can
It's
hardly watch
hard.
movies at all, because you know how the trick is done, and you're always thinking, "Oh, I see that shot." And so consequently, the only movies that I really enjoy are stuff that was made before I started making movies. Like, for some reason, those remain magical to me. Star Trek Wrath of Khan. That's my
Oh
favorite.
yeah.
It's my favorite in the Trek all the Trek movies. So I shot in that on that soundstage, and I'm in the
No
soundstage,
kidding.
the Paramount, and
Holy shit.
because outside it has all the movies, and I'm thinking, okay, intellectually, I know that the bridge was there. I know that Khan's ship was here. I know it wasn't real. I know it was done in this building, which I'm now in, but in my mind, they really were in space.
Yep, for sure. And that's
But
how
the
everyone felt when they watched it.
And that's because I did it before I started doing this for a living, and I didn't know how the trick was done. So it's kind of weird.
Yeah. It's almost full circle.
Yeah.
All right. Before we get into the next segment of the Underground, we're going to cut to a quick commercial break to our sponsors over at Villain Arts Tattoos. Check it out. That's right. If you're going to be in the Omaha area on January the 13th, yours truly, Reaper and Mischief will be there. You can definitely come on down, get yourself an awesome tattoo, check out the killer fucking sideshow, as well as get some selfies with us, chat with us, hang out with us. It's going to be a great time. As you can see, I'm no stranger to ink, so there we go. As a matter of fact, the last time I went to one of these, I got my very own Reaper tattoo. It's
Oh, wow.
definitely one of my favorites.
I got a Facebook message from more than one person who had Papa Corn tattooed on various parts of their anatomy.
How does that make you feel? I mean, that's like immortalized at that
It
point,
depends
right?
on the anatomy and the part.
Oh, well, that's true too.
No,
as long as it's not a certain
always
appendage.
It's always an incredible honor. And in fact, it wasn't a joke to the people that I talked to. They were like, this movie really connected with me in some way. One person told me that it connected in some way with pain they had felt in their life over a personal loss. And that's
Oh,
why they
wow.
wanted to immortalize it on their skin. I was like, that's really beautiful.
Absolutely. A friend of yours, Jason Brooks, I had him on the show not too long ago, and he was telling me how it felt to see his version of Jason Voorhees tattooed on somebody, and it's just like, seriously, you did that?
Yeah.
I can remember when Black Tar Superstar fan got the band's logo tattooed on them. I was like, the fuck did you just do? Why'd you do that? And then I'm like, wait a minute. It started to set in a little bit. I'm like, you know what? Somebody's going to remember that for the rest of their lives.
But see, and that's the thing, like what we do. I mean, I know that our mothers and fathers say you should get a real job, and they say that for 50 years. You know, well, you look at your life, but if you do something that you're really passionate about and it's your art and you put it out there, especially in today's world where it's a niche world, somebody is going to find it and connect with it, and it's going to mean something to them. And there's real meaning in doing that. We may not make a difference in millions of people's lives, but there will be a few who will be changed by what we do. And I think that's beautiful.
And I mean, there's a reason that film is a cult classic now for you. I mean, I honestly think that people don't look at Papa Corn just as he was that ultimate badass. I mean, I'm sure they still do, but you know, there's different reasons, like you said, that people really gravitate towards these characters. Like for me, when Sid did Captain Spaulding, it was like he was the portrait of like the wild wild west to me, like, you know, because the film set in, you know, Texas in like the 70s, and that's how they were like the last of the cowboys.
Yes.
And that's why I always dug his character, because he just didn't give a fuck.
That's right.
Not at all.
And there's something really appealing about that, about not giving one.
Kind of.
That really, yeah, that no matter what the person's doing, if they're really independent, maybe that's something in the American character, especially, that we're like, yeah, they just don't care.
Yeah, it's like, you know, you could really feel it, kind of like a Clint Eastwood. Back
Yeah.
in outlaw Josie Wales or some shit like that. I grew up watching that stuff as a kid, and I just always kind of looked at these guys like, man, that's the kind of gumption men should have.
You know what? So now you're getting into something. I want to ask you this because it's not specifically related to horror, but it sure plays into our
Sure.
genre. The idea of being a man. I'm a man of my generation, and I was raised to be a man. There are certain things you do, and
Right.
and these things make you a man, and that there are certain things women do. And I know we've moved beyond that in some ways, but our genre still tends to reflect these strong male female roles, don't you think?
Oh yeah, I mean, in a lot of ways. I mean, we're definitely on the rise with a lot of really strong female leads that are just awesome. It's kind of cool that that there's that sense of, like when Jamie Lee was doing Halloween for the first time, like, oh no, nah, she ended up like being able to fight back is like cool. We want to see that. So
Yeah.
how the final girl thing is taken off so well. But yeah, I do still see that. Um, Men, it's just like, I don't know, it's like some of those more old school vibes, never break a promise, be trustworthy, that type of thing. In some of the films, I think it gets twisted.
Yeah, because we're gonna break promises, and so yeah, that all of that is bullshit. The
It
whole
really
idea, like,
is. I
oh,
mean, we're human at the end of the day.
a man doesn't lie, and a man, we all do all of that stuff. We all, but I guess the last bastion sort of masculinity, and of male responsibility to me is taking care of your family. Like
That's first and foremost for me.
that
Nothing
was
comes
really,
before it.
really strong in my upbringing, that a man takes care of his family. And I guess, and a woman would take care of her family too. But it's interesting to me how I don't know how much we want in horror to move on completely from some of these ideas that have undergirded, like there's always the female, or there used to be always they were the ones who were being attacked, and then they got to fight
Right.
back.
Because a woman can be just as devious as a man.
Yeah, they can. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where it goes in the future. I
For
tried
sure.
to I tried to give Papa Corn a little feminine vibe to kind of play with this. That's why I gave him a softer voice and gave him some movements that were almost, to my mind, feminine and more graceful, because I wanted him to be not so stereotypically, I'm gonna hurt you.
Yeah, because that's what everyone is used to seeing all the time. It's like we need a fresh, new perspective from somebody. One of my favorite characters of all time, the Joker. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
He didn't move like everybody else. He wasn't just stunt guy. I'm going to kill you now.
yes,
Raw. He
yes,
came at you different. He always kept you guessing, and it's kind of hard to. He was the kind of like the portrait of insanity for me growing up.
yes, yes.
So yeah, I absolutely love diabolical, you know, killers, serial killer, that type of vibe. It's so much more real. More, you feel it more.
Yeah,
You can be like,
absolutely.
yeah, I felt that. Especially when they off somebody that you want offed.
Yeah, see, there's the
That's
thing.
another reason why people like killers like that.
You just hit on it because we don't want to admit it. Ray Bradbury said, he said, we love war. We say we don't love it, but we do. And I think it's the same with murder. We say that we don't like murder and that we abhor it and that it's horrible, but we keep finding ways to creative outlets, to fulfill this secret desire that that person doesn't need to be here anymore. It's horrible in some way and it's very human in another. But you're right. If it's somebody we really want to be gone, we take delight in it.
Yeah, it's like we feel bad for like certain characters that didn't try to fuck with nobody. They were just, keeping to themselves, but they ended up getting off anyway. It's going to happen. But then there's that one guy that we hope that killer is just going to come after and like, I know I feel that way. Trying to think of, like Breaking Bad, for instance, like that anti-hero character. Um, it's like, yeah, the small guy didn't see him coming, was more intelligent, and that's why you didn't see it coming. And it was good because he got rid of the trash. And I
Interesting.
think that's why people love that show so much. Not just the fact that, it's a school teacher that suddenly becomes something you never would think, morally that he would do. But it just goes to show you sometimes, certain characters that they feel like they got to go in such an extreme way in order to do something good. In
Yes.
this case, it was just to take care of his family. I also think that's why people really love the mob genre, which reminds me, you were in a movie with Armand Assante, the great Armand Assante.
He kicked
Played,
my ass. Yeah.
did he? Did he? It's like when I saw that list, I'm like, I got to find that movie. I want to watch it. I want to
It's
see what
great,
happens.
and he does a really weird, eccentric turn in that movie. Yeah, we had a scene where Armand is supposed to be kicking me and like pushing me down across the street, and he was like, "Is it okay?" He said, "Bill." I said, "Yeah." Is it okay if I hit you? I said, "Yes." Can I kick you? I said, "Yeah." Okay.
Did you have
Yeah.
any pads or anything?
Man, it's indie film.
Oh shit! You felt
You
every bit.
just cover up, and here comes Armand Desante's foot, and he's screaming at the top of his lungs. He was really scary.
Oh man!
We had a scene driving in an old creepy ice cream truck through Tampa in the middle of the night, and he's on this weird rant about how you got to crush the bugs. You got to crush the bugs, crush them. They're bugs, crush them. And, and it was beautiful and weird and scary and surreal. I've had a lot of surreal experiences in my work, and that was one of them. It was great to work with him.
He's played so many different characters too, and it's like when he did the first, John Gotti film just called Strictly Gotti,
Yep.
and I felt like he just nailed that role. It was meant for him. You know what I
He
mean?
is. He's a serious guy. He
Eh.
rehearses serious. He works serious. Strong guy. I worked with an actor, Robert Loggia, who
Oh
was
sure,
the same way.
another one of my favorites.
Very serious. He's gone now, but badass,
Sadly,
badass. He
that's
told me
amazing.
there's a movie that he's in, and I can't remember the name of it now, or the actress that he was with. But he said you probably never saw it. Best line I ever delivered. It's the end of the movie, and he had killed this woman's either husband or boyfriend, and his line is something like, "He was trash," something really harsh like that. And he said, "Great line,
Ouch.
great line."
Hell yeah, it sticks with us forever. Got a question for you. What do you believe is your greatest achievement as an actor?
Remembering my damn lines when I had to. There are instances where you don't have time to do another take. Abraham Lincoln versus zombies.
Yeah, let's talk about that one. Oh man.
They wrote a new scene, and it was a long scene, and we had to film it that afternoon. And so they said, we've got to do this today. And I was like, I thought we were going to have a few days on this. They said, we've got to do it right now. We got to do it today. You've got like, I don't know, 5 minutes. So I grabbed somebody who was there with the production assistant or somebody. And I said, are you a praying woman? And she said, no. And I said, you are now. Come and walk with me. And so she held the script, and I would say it. And I said, when I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. And she was very meek. Like, I said, you got to scream it. And so we got to the point where I would do it, and she'd go, no, wrong, no, wrong. And I would do the lines over and over and over and over and over and over. And we got it. And in one take, we got the scene. So it's those kind of things that for me personally, because I didn't let the team down, right?
For sure.
There's 50 people there. Maybe it's the same in music. Like, you can let down the
It
band
can
and
be like
everybody.
how
Yeah.
many times, a riff goes before it changes, or,
Yeah.
when's the breakdown coming up and you got to drop the bottom out to build the excitement.
So it's
Absolutely.
the times when I didn't let the team down that are most satisfying to me.
Hell yeah. Kyler says, this is a good one. Reaper and Bill, I see an ice cream truck in the middle of the night. I'm blaming you both. So I guess me and
And
Papa
and,
Corn would get along just fine.
and yeah, and you just hear the little bells, the weird sort of offbeat bells. Yeah, I like the
Even
little.
as a kid, I found ice cream trucks to be fucking scary.
They are. What is so creepy about them? It's the weird, the forced happy songs in that blaring, tinny speaker, and they just go over and over and over again. Like
Yeah,
happy
it's like you
day
hear the
followed
song
by.
coming, or you see the damn thing go by you, and there's a driver in there, and he just goes and keeps on
Yeah,
going. I don't know. I always found that to be very frightening. So, there's a script idea for the both of us. We could do that.
absolutely. Have you
That'd be
ever
badass.
have you ever written, or maybe there have been, a horror film that's set within a rock and roll band, or have you ever thought about such a thing?
And it's been done. I've seen it done as like a horror comedy,
Hmm.
and then I've seen it done on the flip side where it's a bit more serious. Do you remember a movie called Jennifer's Body?
No.
Now, this is one that, I went to the theater. It's got one of those actresses in it that, everybody just fawns over, young girl. But it's set where the band wants to be successful. So they end up finding this ritual that if they kill a virgin at such time of night, they'll end up getting all the success they want. And of course, it goes wrong because the girl turns out to not be a virgin. Uh,
I was just going to ask, where are you going to find one of those?
Nunnery? I don't know.
It goes, and kudos to you for using the term nunnery. I love it. A
Oh, I'm
nunnery.
an old soul. That's for sure.
Get the hints. Yeah, yeah. I could see there'd be lots of opportunities to explore that kind of a darkness, and in
Oh,
music.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I would love to do that. And I slowly but surely have been trying to get into acting more. I hope to do some more here in the near future. Most of the acting I've done has been in the music videos that my former band had done, because I kind of like came up with the idea scripted wise, and I did a video called the Cosmic Devil Trip, which was a song off of the Black Flame album that I did last year, where I got to play the devil. And it was actually really, really cool. It was the most fun I ever had.
I'm gonna have to
And
watch that. What did you do? How did you portray the devil? What were your ideas? I'm interested in that.
so the whole song was kind of like a tribute to 70s campy horror. So we wanted to kind of do it trippy with this guy who's at the end of his rope, everything he had tried to do, to be successful and be happy and all that stuff. So he starts blaming God. There's a scene in there where he's shouting at the sky and, just blaming him. And all along he's drinking and then, he really kind of hits rock bottom, snorts a upside down pentagram of cocaine, but of course it's not cocaine. So, we didn't do nothing like that. But he ends up dying of an overdose. And then he wakes up and he's in my domain. Almost like another plane of existence. And he's brought before me, and I'm just basically shaming him, laughing at him, just whole time just making fun of them. I'm laughing, and I got like this, I call them devil bitches at my side, and then there's some hooded figures that come down and grab them. And so it was pretty insane. It was cool. I'm like, you know what? I actually really enjoy stepping out of the band light because I feel like I could offer something on this kind of a art. Very good at memorizing things as far as like lines and stuff. And so, yeah, I mean, I would love to give it a go sometime.
Maybe we'll get to do something together.
Oh, that'd be dream come true.
You mentioned when you mentioned snorting the coke, which wasn't really coke, it made me think about a Mastodon video I did. Curl of the
Oh shit! He said Mastodon.
Curl of the
Let it be known right here on the underground.
They were they were really nice guys.
We love Mastodon.
I had to snort sawdust, and I'm a lumberjack, and I snort sawdust, and suddenly I see women with lights in their boobs, and I become a giant. I don't know. Anyway, so I actually had a kid who recognized me from it in Los Angeles at the movie theater.
No kidding.
And he said, "Was that really sawdust you were snorting up your nose?" And his mom was like, "Get away from him, get away from him." No, don't snort sawdust. That's not real. So yeah, we should tell people this stuff is not real.
Oh man, and you know what? That's the one part of the video, besides me being the devil, that people always talk to me about. They're like, "Nice, snorting a cocaine upside down star." I'm like, that really was one of your favorite parts?
People love that kind of stuff.
I guess so. I was just like really kind of thrown back because I thought the effects and the makeup effects and stuff like that, my horns and it was really kind of funny because I asked the director, I'm like, so what should I be saying? Obviously the song's going to be playing over top, so you're not going to hear what I say, but he's like, just start saying whatever. Laugh a lot, say, crazy things. And so, I'm like, I'm damning you to eternal hell to listen to Miley Cyrus for the rest of your life. And everybody on set was dying. I mean, I'm just saying all this crazy shit. And you can see it once you see the video. There were parts where I was like legit laughing because I'm like, I can't believe I just said that. And all along he's down on his knees and he's like, oh, I'm about to be like destroyed in fire and flames, and he's starting to laugh. Oh man, that was one of the best times I ever had.
Please,
especially
not Miley
trying to do something like that.
That is awesome. But Miley, if you happen to see this, no offense. We just chose you as a representative. Yeah.
We do a show called The Shred, and believe me, I've said much worse about other people. But yes, definitely no. Yeah, no bad blood, no hard feelings. Kyler says I snorted pepper. What? That had to be an experience.
Oh yeah.
Holy crap. I've never intentionally put anything up my nose except a COVID test. And let me tell you, that sucks.
I did one today. Yeah.
Oh, did you?
Like, all the way up and 15 seconds. And yeah, we've all had to learn to live with discomfort.
It literally feels like you're tickling your brain.
It does, doesn't it?
Oh, it's
a weird,
absolutely atrocious.
It's not a good tickle.
No, not at all. Oh, goodness. Ganga says, it was the cool thing in high school to snort ground up Smarties. Could you imagine the burn?
No, I could not. Now, you're just making me think of that old joke from the Carson version of the Tonight Show, one of the old comics. You know, about the guy who goes to the doctor and he said, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. He's like,
Yep.
Doc, you know, and every time I go, every time I sneeze, I experience the sensation of, experiencing marital pleasure with my legally wed spouse, because that's all they could say in those days. And he would
Right.
go on and set it up and set it up. He'd say like, and she goes like, so what are you taking for it? And the guy would say pepper.
Oh man, that's crazy. Yeah, my parents were avid fans of that show, so I watched, especially when Carson had Buddy Rich on. That was my favorite episode of all time because he would play.
Yeah, and that was rare in those days for somebody just to play the drums.
Yeah, and which is really kind of exciting because recently I've discovered there's a young talent who plays just like him.
Oh yeah?
It's awesome to know that that legend will go on.
Oh, awesome.
It's amazing. Never thought, I thought most of us, felt that jazz kind of died out after the 90s a little bit. Like people just weren't as interested, except for like the connoisseur. But now this kid's just on fire. So it's awesome to see.
That's really great in a digital world to hear about somebody who's doing it for real, rather than, I mean, synthesized stuff is great and beautiful, but that there's a human hand involved and a human
Exactly.
body doing the timing. Yeah, that's nice.
Absolutely. And I was going to say that is like very evident in your acting. Every character is believable.
I
Doesn't
hope
even matter
so.
what the situation.
I
And I,
hope
I
so.
think that's what really, makes a film. It doesn't matter if it goes to big screen, straight to DVD, VOD, whatever the hell they want to call it these days. If it's good, it's good. And like I said, you deliver, man.
Well, people like to watch other people, right, Reaper? So that's what I try to do
Oh,
with.
yeah. That goes along with my theory that everyone is a voyeur of some sort.
Oh, we are so voyeurs. So we want to know, we want to watch other people and know about their lives. And I try to give them people. I try to do stuff in the eyes. I hate dialogue. The less dialogue, the better. But I try to give them stuff in the eyes that people can say, "What's going on in that son of a bitch's mind?" Like you're on the
Makes you
subway.
think.
Yeah, you're watching a guy, or somebody in the subway, and you're thinking, "What is that bastard thinking about?" It's fun. Humans love to do that. I love to do it.
Well, sure. I mean, we're all kind of people watchers. You go out to eat and notice other people around, or people, somebody suddenly just laughs out loud for no reason. You're like, wonder what's going on over there.
Yeah,
That kind of thing.
it's good because that keeps us connected as humans. Like I think it's really important that we be connected as human beings, and that's the stuff that does it. It's not all like loving, puppy, smiley, happy hearts. Sometimes it's like, what the fuck's going on with that guy? That's a human connection too.
Absolutely. Well, I'll tell you what, it has been an absolute blast having you on the show. Gotta have you back on, especially with any new updates on the stuff that you got coming out.
I will. I'll
Because
let you
as
know
we
how
know,
Phantom of the Opera's coming.
oh man, gotta have you on for that. Got to. It has been an absolute pleasure. So, for all your fans that have been watching tonight, as well as the new ones that you've made, what do you want to leave with the people of Three Witches Land?
Oh, well, first I want to say if you're a fan of my stuff, I'm sorry because I know a lot of it's not great, but some of it is. There's a little bit, right? So thank you for digging through the pile and saying, "Oh my God, look at this! This is pretty good." Um, I'm on Twitter, I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram, I'm on all those places. So say hello. I got a mail today from somebody who wrote me about something that was happening in their life and just wanted some advice. And that kind of stuff happens. Like people feel connected to you and they write you stuff about their life. And I enjoy it. I respond. And I like being connected to people. So please say hello and thank you for supporting indie horror. It's a family of passionate people, and we couldn't do it without you. So thank you.
Absolutely. Got to love that humbleness. That is what it is all about. All righty. So thank you all out there in Three Witches Land. It's been great coming back after a week off from the holidays, and we are getting ready for New Year's Eve. So definitely stay tuned for all the great fucking programming that's going to be coming this weekend with the Shred on Friday. And then we got Tracks from the Damned on Saturday. So as you're laying it down and, you got your footies on and you're all nestled under your blanket, always stay heavy.
Riding in this wasteland, left us some bleach the bones. Kiss the death in the palm of my hand, more food for the